Love, exciting and new.
Hello, Hannah Waddingham here. Have you seen the fabulous new Sun Princess? World-class entertainment, exceptional dining, and the greatest pizza ever.
It's a love.
Don't miss our Come Aboard sale with up to 40% off and free room upgrades. Visit princess.com or call your travel advisor to book. Princess Cruises. Terms and restrictions apply. Offer ends 2/28/25. Ships of Bermudan and British Registry.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. There's nothing better than the perfect jean and going out top combo, or an outfit that perfectly matches your plans. Abercrombie's relaxed jean goes with every occasion. Date nights with something lace, or daytime with a cozy sweater. And their barrel jean will surprise you. It's the trend that will become a staple in your wardrobe. Abercrombie denim comes in tons of rises, fits, and washes. Find your perfect pair online or in store.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show, and welcome to another edition of Relationship Advice. I already caught the headline of one, and I'm like, yeah, I instantly just saying divorce that person, but nah man, you know, for Valentine's Day, I figured, you know what? Let me go ahead and do a relationship advice episode real quick. I don't know why. I was like, I wanted to do something else, but I'm like, it would make sense to do a relationship advice episode. I should have saved the one for yesterday today and then did something else, like randomly yesterday and things. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and get on into this relation. I ain't gonna hold back. I'm gonna read whatever. More so the titles, like if it's something long, you know, yeah, I ain't gonna read all that. But as far as the titles, the headlines, yeah, I will read that. And this first one, yeah, like I say, instantly it's a situation where you just got divorced your wife. But there is like update to my situation regarding finding my wife's troll account, laughing at a murdered child. How do I proceed? Divorce. Because that's something where I'm like, you know, if I come across some stuff like that, I definitely would question her about it. And I'm like, fam, why are you out here laughing about some stuff where if you know you were in that same exact situation, you would feel a certain way about that? And I'm sorry, I can't be around nobody where it's like, you're going to laugh at things like that, because then it's like, okay, you get caught, then people going to be looking at me like, oh, you married to her, so you must feel the same way. I don't feel the same way. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, nah, I'm going to divorce you, because I can see right now you going to lead me into a world of trouble. And that's probably something that the husband didn't even realize. All these different moments in his life where she done did some things that overall, yeah, you know, it's like, fam, okay, you shouldn't be out there carrying on like that. It's like, man, you know, it's just, it's one of those things where, you know, she needs to realize, she's 44 years old, she needs to realize you can't be carrying on like no child. There's even children that don't invent. My thing is this, when I was at a young age, never laughed about stuff like that. Never laughed about a child that was murdered, that, you know, took their life. None of that stuff is funny. So, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, nah, man, I definitely would have questioned my wife about it. And I'm like, you either need to take that stuff down or, and you need to pray. And I'm like, because I'm saying that's one of those things where I'm like, you got some sort of mental issue going on if you out here laughing at a child that got murdered. I'm like, it's nothing funny about that. You know, knowing if that was me, or if we, I don't know if they have children, but I'm like, if that was somebody that we know, you would have felt a certain way about that. And especially if you had seen somebody laughing about it. So, yeah, it's things like that where I'm like, nah, she definitely, she needs a reality check in life. Because I'm like, man, I don't think people realize stuff like that, where it's all like, your whole life can not so much as like come to an end, but it's like it can be a lot of you know, issues going on within your life doing crap like that, and I don't think she realizes that. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, she definitely needs a reality check of some sort. But anyways, next one, I found an open condom wrapper in my wife's what? Like, what? Wife's purse, wallet? I mean, anyways, carrying on. And in my wife's vacation, okay, he put and that's why I thought like he was continuing on with something else. But then, anyways, so he goes on to say, she swears she had nothing to do with it. I'm feeling uncertain in my marriage. How do I move forward? Yeah, that's one of those things where, I mean, if she says that she ain't got nothing to do with it, and I mean, like, overall, like, yeah, it sounds like you guys might be at a hotel or some sorts. Maybe, yeah, somebody forgot to clean that up. So that's the one thing I'm like, okay, I'm going to take your word for it. All right. I'm going to take your word for it, because it's like, if you see, if it's one of those things, if she's like playing it off like, you know, that ain't mine. It's like, okay, but I don't know. Like, that's the problem. I don't know. I don't know what you be doing and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that I don't trust you, but at the same time, you have to understand my concerns. Like, what would you do if it was the other way around? You would have been questioning me too. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, don't be surprised if somebody questions you on some stuff like that. It could be with anything. Like, it's funny because there was the one, even though it was like, yeah, it's a fictional TV show, but still, there's like a segment that they did on that show called Martin, when he was doing, was it him or Gina? One of them two was doing laundry, and there was like these like old granny pennies that one of them guys had pulled out. And yeah, I think it was clear as day. It's like, yeah, Martin, he wasn't fooling around with no woman wearing no granny panties and stuff. But still, it was like Gina, she did have a look of concern in her face and things. I'm like, that was just a fictional TV show. So yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, now it's some real life stuff, and especially with something like that, it's like, yeah, fam, it's like you can't be surprised. And I know people will probably be all like, okay, well, what would I do in a situation like that? I'm like, prove my innocence. I'm like, if I'm like, fam, what do you, I'm like, if you need to check hotel cameras, if you need to check my my phone history, all that stuff, I'm like, if you need to be following me, I'm like, you do what you need to do. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not living this life of cheating on you. I'm like, no, that ain't me. You know that ain't me. I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, and it's like, not to, I guess, make my life sound like it sucks, but it's like, I've been single for a minute. I would love to be in some strong, relationship and things. I'm not going to mess that up, so I can, no, let me just have a little quick, fling, one night stand, whatever people be wanting to call it and stuff. I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, I get into a relationship, I'm settling down. All right, I already said that. I can't remember if I have said that before. I feel like I said that before. I'm like, woman comes on to me, I'm like, I'm blowing a whistle. I'm like, you need to back up, because I'm in a happy either relationship or marriage, wherever distance we are. But I'm like, yeah, I ain't gonna mess my life up, so I could just, yeah, have like a little quickie, and no, I'm good. So anyways, next one, she canceled our date, Valentine's date, last minute, but went out with her friends instead. Am I being played? And then they name off like age and sex and stuff. But yeah, I would say so. It's one of those things where if, yeah, she does some stuff. And my thing is this. It's like, you can hang out with your friends at any given point in time of the week. It's like Valentine's. Yeah, I feel like that's a couple's day. It's like, that's something where I'm like, my thing is this. If I was in a relationship right now, I'm like, nah, bruh. Valentine's, I'm like, I'm possibly skipping some videos, possibly skipping a stream, podcast episode. Well, I usually record my podcast episodes late at night. I'm recording it at 11 at night right now. So, yeah, but I'm like, a lot of things is being put to the side until, yeah, me and my Valentines is, we did all the things that we needed to do and stuff. So, but, yeah, I don't think I would do no stuff like that. I don't think I would, because I'm like, with me and my friends, it's like, we usually be playing the game at night and stuff, so I'm like, that's just perfect timing. Get the whole day to spend with my significant other, and then late at night, unless she wants to play the game, then I'm all like, then yeah, I'm like, okay, we celebrating Valentine's, I guess, all the way up until midnight, up until February 15th, but yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, I don't think I would do no stuff like that. I'm like, that's, now, me being on the, I guess the person that's writing this being in their shoes, yeah, I would be hurt by some stuff like that, where it's like, you cancel to hang out with me so you can hang out with your friends. You can literally hang out with your friends. I guess if you guys are dating and y'all ain't in a strong relationship, then yeah, but he does say girlfriend, so I'm like, yeah, that's something where I'm like, fam, eventually, I guess, like, people want to hang out with their friends as much as they want to, like, when they're younger. I know me and my friends, like, when we were younger, it seemed like we were hanging out once a week. And then as we get older, it's like we will be lucky if we get to hang out at least once a month, and if we don't, that's the thing though, where we don't, like, there's like one of me and my childhood friends where it's like me and him, we still hang out to this day, play the game to this day, but that's something where I'm like, I don't think he would do no stuff like that, and I definitely wouldn't do no stuff like that, where it's all like, oh, let's put each other significant others to the side so we can have some us time. No, and I guess, like, I feel like when we were younger, it's like, yeah, if we were in relationships or stuff like that, still, it's one of those things where it's like, if one or the other texts about like, hey, let's, I'm like, nah, I'm busy with the significant other. It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, like we don't take that type of stuff for granted. You know, it's like it's something where it's like, yeah, we serious about ours and stuff. So, but yeah, it's like if we have free time and we hanging out, then yeah, it's all like, all right, cool, let's hang out today and stuff, or play the game or whatever. But yeah, I just think that it's stuff like that where I'm like, yeah, she, you know, I mean, she is 20, she's young, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's, you know, it's best to maybe have a sit down conversation with her and be like, hey, you know, stuff like that is hurtful, you know, where it's all like, you don't want to hang out with me. And I know people will be looking at it as like, oh, well, she can hang out with him any day of the week and stuff. And it's like, I just want to hang out with my friends. I'm like, yeah, eventually it gets to a point in time where it's like, okay, it's like this hanging out with the friend stuff is getting old. You know, I mean, like, yeah, if you guys want to, cool. But it's like, I just think that that's kind of messed up where it's like, okay, Valentine's ain't meant for hanging out with friends. It's meant for hanging out, I guess, like, yeah, if you do one of them Galentines, or whatever and stuff. But other than that, it's like, yeah, it's like Valentine's Day is meant for your significant other. It's like, I know I will be hurt by some stuff like that. So yeah, I ain't even trying to hear nothing about it's like, well, she can hang out with him any day of the week. And it's like, okay, same with the friends. It's like the friends ain't gonna go nowhere. You know, it's like you hear more of breakups in relationships than friendships. You know, I guess like, yeah, with friendships, it's like y'all just grow old and stop hanging out with each other and stuff. With relationships, I'm like, there's a whole process with that type of stuff. So I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, people should sit down and think that one through. But anyways, so next one, my husband let me down this morning for Valentine's Day. How do I tell him without sounding spoiled or entitled? What do you mean by let her down? I guess, yeah, let's read this. First off, I love my husband. He provides for us both and has been very attentive since I've become pregnant. We both work from home, but he is the breadwinner. Since becoming pregnant, I have switched to drinking on occasions matcha over coffee. Occasional matcha over coffee. I was like, what am I reading right now? I'm like, it's another coffee drink over another coffee. Anyways, I was like, yeah, my brain, it wasn't braining at the moment. But anyways, I go out before work every Friday to get myself a matcha before I come home and clock in. We have 2 Starbucks less than a mile from our house. They must live in Washington. I'm like, for it to have it where it's like, you know, it's still, that's a good amount of Starbucks and stuff nearby and things. They must live in Washington State. But anyways, yesterday I went out and bought all the ingredients to make his favorite dinner and dessert. I asked him beforehand to make sure I got what he would like to eat just in case. I probably spent around $70 in ingredients and also got him his favorite crackers and chocolate. Before bed last night, I mentioned how I haven't been sleeping well and was excited to get my Friday morning matcha from Starbucks. This morning I woke up and the car was gone. I was so sure he was going to get me matcha. I got ready for the day and he showed up a few minutes before I cooked and said, surprise. I turned around and he gone to Kroger by our house, which has a Starbucks inside at the front. He handed me 4 yellow flowers from the build your own bouquet section with the discount stick. I'm not understanding what's wrong with this. Man, okay, maybe I gotta continue on reading, but I'm like, this man just surprised you with some flowers. I'm like, I don't. Anyways, so then she goes on to say, I was not expecting flowers and I never expect something fancy or expensive. He also got me a mini Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I am not a huge fan of sugar or ice cream. I faked a smile and said thank you and kissed him. That is some wow. I mean, I'm not understanding how do I tell him without sounding so my brain ain't braining. How did he let you down? Like, that's the thing where I'm thinking on some stuff where it's like he gonna do something bad. This man, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, I guess people will probably ask me, okay, so like for an example, how would that make you feel if your wife went out and bought you some Skechers or something? If that's the gift that she wanted to give me, I'm like, fam, I guess, I don't know. This is something that I hear where it's like with men, we're easily impressed by stuff. So it's like, yeah, you go out and do something for a man. It's like, he ain't gonna care what it is. It's like, yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know. Maybe that could be the case, but I don't feel like that there's ever been a time like, yeah, let's say she goes out and gets me some ice cream and flowers. I'm like, and that's something where I'm like, if anything, I would crack a joke. I'm like, when do guys get flowers? I'm like, you know what? I am going to accept this gift because I think I have to be the first man in history to receive flowers. I'm like, yeah, you hear where it's all like, oh, bro deserves his flowers, but to actually go through with it, you went through with it and got me flowers. Yeah, it's like I'm there to make her laugh. I'm like, but that's something where I'm like, I'm not gonna run to Reddit and be all like, oh, my husband let me down by getting me ice cream and flowers. Yeah, that's something where I'm like, okay.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox disinfecting all-purpose cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes!
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
See, I'm like, it's definitely that pregnancy stuff, because I'm like, I hear where like women, they do change a little bit when pregnant, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely sounds like the case. But anyways, so then she goes on to say, I went and clocked in and just started crying. I know I should be grateful. I should be grateful he even thought of me, but what he did just seemed like it was out of obligation rather than thinking about what I like or what makes me happy. That's one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna have to disagree with the individual writing this. He did something for you. You should be happy about that type of stuff. I just find that crazy. But anyways, I feel so ungrateful, but also incredibly let down. I would have been ecstatic with just a matcha, because that would have shown he was thinking about what makes me happy. And it's like, ma'am, he went out and got you ice cream and flowers. My thing is this with Starbucks. For those that don't, because I know I have my fair share of moments where I was going to Starbucks, and especially when I worked in Seattle. So there was all the time where I was hearing different people's orders and stuff, and they talking about, okay, I get a grande size matcha with extra caramel, 3 shots of mocha, and 15 shots of sugar. And I'm like, fam, what did you just order? I'm like, what is that? That don't even sound like that's real. I'm like, and then you look, and it's a coffee drink, and I'm like, that's a coffee drink. I'm like, ma'am, you just made a hocus pocus potion. I'm like, that's not no coffee drink. Well, I'm like, where's the dead man's toes at? I'm saying, like, Starbucks, that's one of those things where it's like people go into Starbucks, because I know there's been times where prime example, I remember my first supervisor when I started working at that cafe, when she would ask me to go to the Starbucks and get her something, she would text it to me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I have it listed out. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I am positive. Let's just look this up real quick. How many matcha drinks are at Starbucks? Let's just see. Search and generating. Starbucks offer multiple matcha drinks, including matcha lattes, matcha lemonade, and iced pineapple matcha drinks. There's like matcha drinks at Starbucks: iced matcha latte, matcha green tea latte, matcha lemonade, iced pineapple matcha drink, dirty matcha, and I'm matcha. But I'm thinking to myself, it's like, ma'am, I don't think you understand. Like, there's more than one. So how is he supposed to know which one do you like? Yeah, and even she's saying it. She's like, she just goes and gets herself a matcha. What matcha though? I'm like, yeah, you something ain't right. I'm like, all right, that's, to me, I'm like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, this man goes out, he gets something that it's like, okay, I would assume that she would like this. And and it's like, if he does follow her on Reddit, I highly doubt that he probably don't even know that she wrote this out. But I think some people are going after her for now. All right, so let's continue. But yeah, if dude reads this, I imagine that he feels incredibly bad right now, because I'm like, I go out and do something and she ain't happy, she ain't satisfied, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely that pregnancy stuff. But anyways, where was I at? He took wait a minute, I was ecstatic to show that now I don't even have my Friday morning matcha because he took the car at the time. I usually go get one. Is it even worth bringing up? Okay, then just go out and get one. It's like, my thing is this, right? if like, I guess if I'm in a situation like that where it's like, let's say there's a pair of Jordans that comes out, right? I say it's these red and black. Yeah, like, you know what? The funny thing is, there's these red and black Jordans that are coming out, and then I go out and I'm all like, oh, I'm gonna tomorrow I'm probably gonna go out and get these red and black Jordans. I wake up, Shakara's gone, she ain't there, and I'm like, all right, well, you know, she's probably tending to some stuff. She comes back home, she's all like, oh, surprise, I got you the red and black Jordans. I'm gonna be happy because I'm like, no, she didn't. No, she did. I open it up and it's like them prototype Jordans that they be coming out with. My thing is this. I would tell her, I'm like, okay, these ain't the ones, but you best believe I'm going to wear them. I'm like, no, my thing is this. I'm going to wear the other ones that I do want outside, but I'm not going to wear these one outside. I want to, and I know people are going to be thinking like, that's kind of messed up thing to say. No, that's just how I am with sneakers. If there's like a favorable pair of sneakers, it takes me a while before I wear them outside. Unless she wants me to wear them outside, then I'm like, okay, so be it. Or maybe even if it was a sizing thing where it's like she did get them, but they were the wrong size, then I'm like, okay, I would explain that to her. It's called communication. Yeah, that's something where I'm like, I don't know about this woman. But anyways, I feel like I should just swallow my tongue and pretend I am happy about it. You shouldn't. Okay. But anyways, but also part of me wants to tell him I feel disappointed. Yeah, that's something where I'm like, you know, if I'm that husband, I definitely will be questioning her. I'm like, ma'am, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I go out and do something out of the kindness of my heart. You talk about I don't care about you and stuff. And it's because I didn't get your matcha coffee or matcha drink. I'm like, since there's multiple. Yeah, and I just find that weird. There's like, but she goes on and ends it off by, also, to the Redditor who somehow got the idea from expecting something that I'm going to be a horrible mother and then reporting me to Reddit for, so somebody reported her for, like, life-ending thoughts. I don't know how to, I guess you guys can, you know, make the best out of what I just said, but, then, yeah, she was sarcastically, said, have a lovely day. I don't know about her being a horrible mother, but I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, ma'am, you know, you should really sit down and reevaluate your life. You got somebody that does care about you. If they go out and get you flowers and ice cream, they care. Yeah, my thing is this. All right, hold on. I'm gonna comment on this one. It's like, if somebody goes out of their way to get you something, even if it's as little as, I'm trying to think of something that's little. I don't even know. Like shoelaces for a shoe. That overall should tell you that the person cares about you. Appreciate what he does, because I've seen some people on here go through much more worse relationships, period. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I'm like, that's something where I'm like, ma'am, you really need to sit down and think about that. I'm like, ma'am, that's the crazy thing about it, where it's like, you're posting this on relationship advice. I imagine that you overall have seen some horror stories on here and stuff. Yeah, that one, I'm like, that might be one of them fake ones where I think it's just a person trying to get people's reactions and stuff. But anyways, let's read one more, and then after that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it with this episode. But anyways, having an issue with my 40-year-old wife's 50-year, I don't even know how to properly read that one. They be having some ones where I'm like, I just don't know how to properly read them. I'm like, dang, bro. But anyways, no, I read that one yesterday. So there's like, I belittled my wife on a topic she was sensitive about. I'm afraid I ruined my marriage. Yeah, you don't belittle nobody, especially your wife. And you know, yeah, that's something where I'm like, okay, yeah, let's read this one and see what it's all about. So anyways, so the guy goes on to say, my wife and I have been married for 5 months, currently long distance. She struggles with confidence issues related to work. She's gone the past few years having people tell her she sucks at her job and she won't amount to anything. So you thought by belittling her that was going to help. If anything, I'm like, fam, I'm getting, I don't know overall the distance, whether she's within the same country or a different country, but I'm like, I'm getting a plane ticket and I'm cussing out each and every one of her employees. I'm like, no, you're moving with me. I'm like, that's not, but you don't belittle that. Yeah, that's something I'm like, fam, you should have thought that one through. But anyways, so there's like 7 mountain things. So like recently that attitude has started turning around, and it was with me recognizing how good of a worker she is. But during a recent discussion, her and I about work trips based on seniority, I made the dumb male brain comment that I would have been more likely go be picked over her. Go see, that's what I'm like, man, people, you guys gotta please proofread when you write out these things. But anyways, which she turned and feared that I was saying I'm better than her at my job, trying to double back on my remark on a later date. My intent was to tell her I'm afraid when she figures out how good she is at our job, she'll realize how bad I am. And I think my verbiage was, I think that's how you say that word, was I was being uncouth and putting her down to make myself sound better. Now, why I said that, I have no idea, but those words were spoken. She's lost all trust in me. She's talking about divorce. Dang. I feel terrible for what I did, and the worst part is I don't even feel that way. I think she's incredible. I think she's great at everything she does. Have I ruined my marriage? Is there any chance that the relationship is salvageable or the damage is too much? This is our first large-scale argument. I should add, she has a history with abuse from past relationships, and she doesn't want to see that again. Saying my comment was verbal abuse. Additionally, she is looking out for her kid, who is she afraid if I say something like that to her, I will, what will I say to him? Yeah, that's something where there's like long distance this early in the marriage is not good. Yeah, we initially got married too close. Okay, I'm not even gonna try to sit down and read this person, because I'm like, it's just, man, it's that time you be trying to read stuff and I'm like, bro, what are you saying? But anyways, yeah, that's something where I'm like, if you know that there are certain comments, because that's something that I do when I, like, before I say something, I think about it, so like, I know people are like, how do you do that in the middle of a conversation? And I'm like, okay, if I know how this person is, if I know, because I guess like with me, I'm like, I don't usually initiate arguments like, first conversation and stuff. But if I know a person and I know what they're about and I know, what their history is, based on just arguments and discussions and stuff, I'm not going to start no argument with them. I'm not going to have no discussions, where it's like, it's going to be going, unless it's something where we just sitting down, we just casually talking about stuff. But when it starts turning into a conflict, when it starts turning into an argument, then that's where I'm like, okay, you know what? I ain't gonna, say nothing more. I'm just gonna leave it alone, all right? Because I can see where this is going. I'm moving on, all right? So, yeah, there's been times where I done got into it with people, and more so like friends and stuff like that, and, grew up with. And, yeah, I'm like, I ain't even gonna sit down and argue with you on this, because I'm like, I have my feelings about it, you got your feelings about it, so where do we go from there? If you trying to convince me about some stuff, I'm like, okay, that ain't gonna happen. So, it's like, it's just one of those, like, I remember, like, prime example, I remember it was, January 6th with the, insurrection thing, when, Trump supporters had raided the Capitol, and there was like people that I went to school with, people that I was cool with, that were saying like, oh yeah, what they did was all right. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so how would you guys feel if somebody raided your house based on your political views? You gonna feel a certain way about that, and you gonna most likely get to shooting at somebody if they did some stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you guys, I ain't even gonna sit down and argue with y'all about that, but let it been some Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris supporters raiding the Capitol. Oh, you guys would have been saying everything, oh, like, oh, put them in jail. And that's something where I'm like, man, I wish like I could stage some stuff like that, like call up the Capitol and then be all like, hey, we don't want to like really hurt nobody. We just want to stage something just so we can see how Trump supporters be reacting to it and stuff. Because I guarantee and I promise you, they're going to be saying, oh, yeah, them supporters, they need to go to prison. They need to go to jail and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, but what about you guys getting pardoned for the same exact crimes and stuff? I'm like, yeah, get out of here with that. But yeah, there was like people that was trying to say, and so I was like, okay, we ain't seeing eye to eye on this. I'm not going to sit there and argue with you about something that's against the law. That's against the law what they did. If you don't see nothing wrong with it, then I'm like, okay, then when I come through swinging through a rope, going diving through your front window, then I'm like, then don't get mad. I'm just gonna say, I'm like, but what about them Trump supporters though? That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, I was all like, I just remember that time, and I was like, I ain't gonna sit here and argue with these people about it. I'm like, all I'm gonna do is unfriend them just so I won't have to have any more conversations with them and stuff. And yeah, I lost some friends that day, and I have not lost no sleep about it. And so yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, if I guess like if the marriage is done, marriage is done. If it's not, then yeah, apologize. See how that goes. If overall, like I guess nothing comes out of it, and she still wants a divorce, then yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I guess like respect her wishes. Maybe she might come around and be all like, okay, maybe a divorce might have been too extreme and stuff. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service, and peace.